Here are 3 amazing Desperado strategies in BTD6. Up first, we have the Desert Phantom. This guy adds a ton of damage and knockback, but shouldn't be placed by other monkeys. Because of this, we need to have him a little off to the side. So we'll start by getting whatever monkeys we need to beat the early rounds. This can be some dart monkeys, a submarine, or even a hero like Sauda. It's completely up to you. Once we have a solid defense, we'll put down a Desperado and upgrade him to a 0-2-3 Enforcer. I know I built mine with standoff, but we want Bullseye for that chance to crit. Plus, most of our damage will be up close and personal, so quick draw won't be useful either. But upgrading him to an Enforcer does several things for him. Gives him more attack speed if there aren't other monkeys nearby, he attacks faster the more Bloons are in his range, and he gets a shotgun. This does extra damage and can knock Bloons back when they're close to him. And what's nice is we get a range indicator for both his pistol and shotgun, so we know when he'll use each weapon. And this is how we know where to place our other monkeys. If you place one in his range, it lowers his attack speed, but this buff is separate from all his weapons, and all we care about is his close range shotgun. So put a Jungle Drums Village and a Berserker Brew Alchemist outside his shotgun's range, but still close enough to buff Desperado. This will make his shotgun an absolute beast. But this will bring us to the mid-40s, where we'll need to pick up a mid-game carry. This can be an aircraft carrier, arcane spike, elite defender, or many other monkeys. Just one that'll make the next 30 rounds much easier. I went with a Dragon's Breath and Relentless Glue as they pair well with Sauda. But after this, we can upgrade our Enforcer to an Avenger, and the Alchemist to a stronger stim. With these, our Desperado will shred blimp players, as he can knock back Moabs and his shotgun releases shrapnel once it hits something. And now we can save up for Desert Phantom. We should be able to afford this $33,000 upgrade in the late 70s, where it'll tear the Bloons apart. I mean, it can stall ZOMGs in place until fully popped. But now, all we need is some support to get the win. I'm taking a Relentless Glue, primary training village, and maybe some Moab presses. One thing to note is that he does not have lead popping power, so we either get him an MIB or a glue storm to handle the DDTs in the 90s. And that only leaves us with round 100. Unfortunately, the Desert Phantom doesn't have the most single target damage, so pick up something that can help out. This can be a First Strike, Spike Storms, or a different tier 5 tower. On a downstream, I had over $60,000 to spend on round 100, so a Moab Eliminator Archmage could work. Our second strategy uses the Blazing Sun, Desperado's tier 5 upgrade of the top path. Just like last time, the start doesn't really matter. Just get through the early rounds however possible. I didn't even get Desperado down until round 45, but we're going to buff him with a village and upgrade him to a 5-2-0 Blazing Sun. What's nice is that most of these upgrades are pretty cheap, so you can get Desperado to a 4-2-0 in the 40s, and to a Blazing Sun in the late 50s. This guy will be our mid-game carry, very similar to a 205 Elite Defender. The only thing he lacks is Pierce, but we can always cover that with either a hero or whatever tower we go next. And the best part is, it can be anything, because Desperado doesn't depend on anyone. Can pick any hero or tower to pair with him. So in this run, I went with Gwendolyn and a Comanche Commander, while in the second I had Quincy and a Permacharge. Just think of the Blazing Sun as a bridge from the early to late game. You can easily build him before the dreaded round 63 and still have enough money to get a big tower like a ComCom on round 78. He can see camos and deals solid damage to blimps, just know that he doesn't have lead popping power. So be careful of those in the mid game and get something like a Glue Storm or Embrittlement if you want Desperado to help out with DDTs later on. On to the final strategy, which is probably my favorite. Using Deadeye in the mid game and Golden Justice later on, just like the past 2 strats, the start doesn't matter. But you want to plan your late game damage dealer and hero before starting. You see, the middle path Desperado has an ability that improves a monkey's range, accuracy, and gives it camo detection. So we'll want a tower that has a lot of spread out projectiles. The 2 that come to my mind right away were the Bloon Exclusion Zone and Pirate Lord, as they could do much more damage if their projectiles grouped up better. So in both runs, I made my way through the early and start of the mid game without the Desperado. In the first, I had a Pat, a Bionic Boomer, and a Buckshot, while in the others, I had a Brickle and a Cannon Ship. These smoke the rounds and set us up nicely for the mid game, where it's time to get our inaccurate tower. In the first game, I got a BADS, and the second, I upgraded our cannon ship to a Monkey Pirate. Both of these have plenty of damage for any round, but have a ton of spread on their attacks, especially since I made the Dartling Gunner a 0-2-4 for extra attack speed instead of a laser shock. But now it's time to buff them with Deadeye. We'll get a 2-3-0 Desperado and use his ability on them. This has a 50% uptime and will increase their DPS by quite a bit. Unfortunately for me, it looks like there's a bug with this currently, as my BADS and Monkey Pirate got visibly less accurate anytime I use it on them. The spread on their shots got much wider, but don't worry, we'll fix that in a sec, and I'm sure it'll be patched soon. I planned on getting 2 of them so we could keep our main tower buffed 100% of the time, but since it's bugged right now, I decided against it. Instead, we'll go back to our carry and upgrade them to a tier 5. So for me, I went all the way to a Bez and Pirate Lord. And if you're wondering why I have so many alchemists around my Dartling Gunner, it's to permanently give him acidic mixture dip, so he always has lead popping power and does extra damage to ceramics and blimps. But this should be a pretty easy save up, and there'll be plenty of game left once you buy this upgrade. Enough to where you can pick up some support monkeys and get another big tower. This can be anything, but I couldn't resist upgrading my Desperado to a Bounty Hunter and eventually a Golden Justice. This does a few things for us. The first is each upgrade makes his ability give more accuracy. So at a Bounty Hunter, our spread shot went back to normal, and at a Golden Justice, our towers became extremely accurate to the point where our Bez and Pirate Lord's projectiles were basically on top of each other, letting them shred the late game. The second is that Desperado gets a new ability, Mark to Pop. This lets him mark a bunch of balloons on screen, which take more damage and award more money when popped. Now this extra money part doesn't work in chimps, but the extra damage does. And the third is once we make him a Golden Justice, he becomes a beast at dealing damage. Anytime he fires his long range rifle, balloons get wiped from the screen, especially if he crits, as that can one-shot DDTs. Between this and your other tower that he's buffing, you should have more than enough to beat chimps. But that was 3 Desperado strategies in BTD6. If you want 3 Mermonkey ones, click this video right here.